There is a silent strength that never needs to announce itself. It is not found in loud words, endless explanations, or constant approval from others. It is built in the quiet moments when a woman chooses wisdom over impulse, discipline over emotion, and self-respect over temporary comfort. The world often teaches people to seek attention, but true power grows in silence, clarity, and unwavering character. A smart woman understands that every decision she makes today shapes the life she will live tomorrow. She knows that peace is more valuable than drama, purpose is stronger than popularity, and discipline will always outperform talent without direction. In today's sermon, we will explore 7 timeless rules that help women cultivate inner strength, emotional mastery, and unshakable confidence. These are not tricks to control others. They are principles that transform the person you become from within. The greatest battles in life are rarely fought with other people. They are fought within your own mind. Every day, countless emotions appear without invitation. Anger, disappointment, fear, jealousy, loneliness, excitement, pride. Each one arrives like a visitor, asking for your attention. A smart woman understands that emotions are natural, but they should never become the leader of her life. She learns to observe them instead of obeying them. She understands that every emotional reaction carries consequences, while every thoughtful response creates strength. Many people believe emotional strength means never feeling pain. That is a misunderstanding. Emotional strength is not the absence of emotion. It is the ability to remain conscious while experiencing emotion. You can feel hurt without becoming bitter. You can feel angry without becoming destructive. You can feel afraid without allowing fear to control your decisions. This difference changes everything. When someone criticizes you unfairly, your first instinct may be to defend yourself immediately. Your emotions want justice in that exact moment. They demand quick words, harsh replies, and emotional revenge. But wisdom asks a different question. It asks whether your reaction will improve your life or simply satisfy your ego for a few seconds. A smart woman pauses before she speaks because she knows that words released in anger cannot be taken back. Silence is often misunderstood as weakness. In reality, silence can be one of the strongest expressions of self-control. Not every opinion deserves your response. Not every insult deserves your attention. Not every misunderstanding deserves an explanation. When your inner world is stable, you no longer feel compelled to win every argument. Your peace becomes more valuable than proving someone else wrong. People who cannot control their emotions become easy to manipulate. They react exactly as others expect. A small insult ruins their day. A single rejection destroys their confidence. One moment of criticism makes them question their entire identity. They unknowingly hand over control of their emotional state to other people. A smart woman refuses to surrender that power. She understands that her emotional balance belongs to her alone. Emotional discipline begins with awareness. Before changing your reactions, you must first notice them. Observe how your body feels when anger appears. Notice how your breathing changes when anxiety arrives. Pay attention to the stories your mind creates when fear takes over. This simple awareness creates distance between you and your emotions. Instead of saying, "I am angry," begin to recognize anger is present. That small shift reminds you that emotions are experiences, not identities. The modern world constantly encourages emotional impulsiveness. Social media rewards immediate reactions. Arguments spread faster than thoughtful conversations. Outrage attracts more attention than wisdom. But attention is not the same as strength. Real strength often remains invisible because it chooses patience over performance. Patience is not passive. It is active self-mastery. It means giving yourself enough time to respond from wisdom instead of instinct. Imagine how many regrets could be avoided if people simply wait before reacting. Many broken relationships, damaged reputations, and painful decisions began with a single uncontrolled emotional moment. A smart woman understands that emotions are temporary visitors. Happiness comes and goes. Sadness comes and goes. Fear comes and goes. Excitement comes and goes. If she makes permanent decisions based on temporary emotions, she creates unnecessary suffering. Instead, she allows emotions to settle before deciding her next step. Like muddy water left untouched, the mind becomes clear when given enough stillness. Self-respect grows through emotional consistency. People begin to trust those who remain calm during pressure, because calmness reflects inner stability. Confidence is not measured by how loudly someone speaks, but by how peacefully they remain when circumstances become difficult. Anyone can appear confident when everything goes well. True confidence reveals itself during uncertainty. There will always be people who misunderstand you. Some will project their own fears onto you. Others will criticize choices they do not understand. If you attempt to control every opinion about you, your emotional energy will disappear. A smart woman accepts that she cannot manage other people's thoughts. She focuses instead on managing her own character. Forgiveness is another form of emotional mastery. Many believe forgiving someone excuses their behavior. It does not. Forgiveness releases the emotional chains that keep you connected to past pain. Carrying resentment is like carrying a heavy stone everywhere you go. Eventually, it becomes your burden, not theirs. Letting go is not something you do for those who hurt you. It is something you do for your own freedom. Emotional maturity also means accepting responsibility for your inner world. Instead of blaming circumstances for every feeling, a wise woman asks herself what she can learn. Challenges become teachers instead of enemies. Failures become lessons instead of permanent identities. Every difficult experience offers an opportunity to deepen resilience. The strongest people are often the gentlest, because they no longer need to prove their strength through aggression. Their confidence is rooted in self-awareness rather than domination. They understand that control over others is temporary, but control over oneself creates lifelong freedom. When you become emotionally disciplined, your decisions improve, your relationships become healthier, your communication becomes calmer, your confidence becomes quieter but stronger. You stop reacting to every distraction and begin responding according to your values. Your peace no longer depends on favorable circumstances because it is built from within. Each day offers countless opportunities to practice emotional mastery. Every inconvenience becomes training. Every disagreement becomes practice. Every disappointment becomes another chance to strengthen your inner foundation. Instead of asking why difficult emotions appear, begin asking how they can shape a wiser version of yourself. Over time, you will notice that situations which once disturbed your peace no longer have the same power because your inner world has become stronger than the chaos surrounding you. Protecting your peace is not about avoiding people. It is about protecting the quality of your mind. Many individuals believe peace is something they will find when life finally becomes easy, when everyone treats them well, or when every problem disappears. But life has never promised a world without conflict. True peace is created by learning what deserves access to your energy and what does not. A smart woman understands that every person she allows into her life influences her thoughts, emotions, habits, and future. She becomes intentional about who receives her time, because she knows time is life itself. The strongest walls are not built around houses, they are built around values. Boundaries are invisible walls that protect your emotional well-being, your self-respect, and your purpose. They are not punishments for other people. They are acts of responsibility toward yourself. Many women fear setting boundaries because they worry about disappointing others. They believe saying no will make them appear selfish or uncaring. Yet constantly saying yes to everyone else often means saying no to yourself. Every time you ignore your own needs to satisfy someone else's expectations, you teach your mind that your peace is less important than their approval. Over time, resentment quietly grows. You become emotionally exhausted, not because people ask too much, but because you never learned where to draw the line. A smart woman understands that kindness without boundaries eventually becomes self-neglect. There will always be people who demand more than they deserve. Some will expect unlimited access to your attention. Others will drain your emotional energy with constant negativity. Some only appear when they need something and disappear when you need support. If you never establish limits, these patterns continue because people naturally accept the space you allow them to occupy. Boundaries are not created through anger. They are created through clarity. You do not need to shout to protect yourself. You do not need long explanations for every decision. Calm confidence is often more powerful than emotional arguments. Sometimes the simplest sentence carries the greatest strength. That doesn't work for me. A woman who respects herself understands that she does not owe everyone an explanation for choosing peace. Many people confuse boundaries with building walls around the heart. Walls keep everyone out. Boundaries allow the right people in while keeping harmful behaviors outside. There is an important difference. A wise woman remains compassionate, generous, and loving, but she refuses to tolerate disrespect disguised as friendship, manipulation disguised as love, or control disguised as concern. Observe how people react when you begin protecting your peace. Those who genuinely care about you will respect your limits, even if they need time to adjust. Those who benefited from your lack of boundaries may become frustrated. They may accuse you of changing. In reality, you are changing. You are becoming someone who values inner stability more than constant approval. Not every relationship deserves unlimited access to your life. Some people only know how to create drama. They thrive on conflict, gossip, and emotional chaos. After every conversation with them, you feel mentally exhausted. Their negativity becomes contagious because emotions spread from one person to another. A smart woman notices how different people affect her inner state. She asks herself whether someone inspires growth or constantly creates confusion. Protecting your peace also means protecting your attention. Modern life competes aggressively for your focus. Endless notifications, social media comparisons, unnecessary debates, and constant distractions quietly consume your mental energy. Attention is one of the most valuable resources you possess, because whatever consistently receives your attention eventually shapes your mind. A disciplined woman does not allow every notification to interrupt her thoughts. She understands that distraction weakens clarity. Instead of reacting to every message immediately, she creates moments of silence where her own thoughts become louder than the world's demands. In those quiet moments, wisdom begins to grow. Learning to say no is one of the greatest forms of self-respect. Every no protects a more meaningful yes. When you decline unhealthy relationships, you create space for healthier ones. When you refuse unnecessary obligations, you create time for personal growth. When you reject emotional manipulation, you strengthen your confidence. Every healthy boundary is an investment in your future. There are moments when protecting your peace requires walking away. This is rarely easy. Leaving familiar environments, unhealthy friendships, or one-sided relationships often feels painful because the heart naturally resists change. But remaining where your spirit is constantly wounded is far more damaging than the temporary discomfort of letting go. Walking away is not always an act of defeat. Sometimes it is the highest expression of wisdom. You cannot force people to respect you. You cannot convince everyone to understand your worth. You cannot heal those who refuse to change. What you can control is whether you continue exposing yourself to environments that slowly diminish your confidence. Peace also depends on the conversations you have with yourself. External boundaries become difficult if internal boundaries are weak. If your own mind constantly criticizes you, doubts you, and reminds you of every mistake, then no external protection will feel complete. A smart woman becomes aware of her inner dialogue. She refuses to become her own greatest enemy. Instead, she develops the habit of speaking to herself with honesty, patience, and encouragement. Another important boundary involves expectations. Many people suffer because they expect everyone to think, act, and love exactly as they do. Reality rarely works this way. Emotional freedom begins when you release unrealistic expectations and accept people for who they consistently show themselves to be. Acceptance does not mean approval. It simply means seeing reality clearly instead of wishing it were different. Your energy is precious. Every day you wake up with a limited amount of emotional, mental, and physical strength. Where you invest that energy determines the quality of your life. If it is constantly spent solving unnecessary conflicts, pleasing impossible people, and carrying burdens that do not belong to you, little remains for your own purpose and growth. Protecting your peace requires daily awareness. It is not one decision but a lifestyle. Every conversation, every commitment, every relationship, and every habit either strengthens your inner world or weakens it. Small choices repeated consistently become the foundation of a peaceful life. Over time, something remarkable begins to happen. You stop feeling guilty for choosing yourself when necessary. You become less affected by criticism because your self-worth no longer depends on outside opinions. Your relationships improve because they are built on mutual respect instead of silent resentment. Your confidence grows because every healthy boundary reminds you that your well-being matters. The quieter your inner world becomes, the clearer your decisions become, and the more naturally your presence begins to inspire respect without demanding it. Discipline is often misunderstood as restriction, when in reality it is one of the greatest forms of freedom. Many people spend their lives following whatever they feel in the moment. If they feel motivated, they work. If they feel tired, they stop. If they feel excited, they begin something new. If they feel discouraged, they quit. Their emotions become the captain of their life, constantly changing direction with every passing circumstance. A smart woman understands that feelings are temporary, but the consequences of her choices can last for years. She chooses discipline because she values the future more than the comfort of the present moment. The easiest path is rarely the most rewarding. Comfort has a quiet way of convincing people that there will always be another tomorrow, another opportunity, another chance to become better. Days become weeks, weeks become years, and suddenly they realize they have spent more time making excuses than making progress. Discipline protects you from this slow drift into mediocrity. It reminds you that every small action matters, even when no one is watching. A smart woman does not wait until she feels inspired before taking action. She understands that motivation is unpredictable. Some mornings you wake up full of energy, while other mornings every task feels difficult. If your success depends on motivation, your progress will always be inconsistent. Discipline removes this uncertainty. It teaches you to act because it is necessary, not because it is easy. Imagine a river flowing steadily toward the ocean. It does not stop because rocks appear in its path. It does not turn around because the journey becomes difficult. It simply continues, adapting while never abandoning its direction. Discipline works in the same way. Obstacles are not signals to quit. They are opportunities to strengthen persistence. Many people believe discipline requires perfection. They think missing one day means failure. This belief often causes them to give up completely. A disciplined woman understands that consistency is more important than perfection. Missing one workout does not destroy a healthy lifestyle. One mistake does not erase months of progress. One difficult day does not define your future. She simply returns to her routine without wasting energy on guilt or self-criticism. Temporary feelings can be powerful. They whisper comforting lies. They tell you to rest when you should begin. They tell you to spend when you should save. They tell you to respond in anger when silence would serve you better. They promise immediate satisfaction while hiding long-term consequences. Discipline listens carefully, but refuses to obey every emotional impulse. There is a difference between pleasure and fulfillment. Pleasure is immediate. Fulfillment grows slowly. Eating unhealthy food may feel pleasurable for a few minutes, but caring for your health creates strength that lasts for years. Avoiding difficult conversations may feel comfortable today, but honest communication builds relationships based on trust. Spending without thinking may create temporary excitement, but financial discipline creates lasting security. A smart woman learns to distinguish between what feels good now and what serves her future. Every disciplined habit strengthens your identity. You begin to trust yourself because your actions match your intentions. Self-confidence is not built by repeating positive words in front of a mirror. It grows each time you keep a promise you made to yourself. Every completed task, every healthy decision, every commitment honored quietly tells your mind, I can rely on myself. This inner trust becomes stronger than any compliment from others. One of the greatest dangers in life is allowing emotions to make important decisions. Anger may encourage you to end valuable relationships. Fear may prevent you from pursuing meaningful opportunities. Laziness may convince you to postpone dreams until they quietly disappear. Discipline creates a pause between emotion and action. Within that pause, wisdom has an opportunity to speak. Daily routines may appear ordinary, but they shape extraordinary lives. Waking up with intention, caring for your body, learning something new, managing your finances wisely, speaking with kindness, and completing responsibilities before seeking entertainment are small disciplines that compound over time. Just as tiny drops of water can eventually carve through solid stone, small consistent actions transform character in ways dramatic efforts never can. The world often celebrates dramatic success while ignoring the quiet discipline that created it. People admire confidence without seeing the years of preparation behind it. They notice achievement without recognizing the countless mornings when someone chose effort over comfort. They celebrate strength without witnessing the sacrifices required to build it. A smart woman understands that the invisible work is what produces visible results. Discipline also protects you during difficult seasons. When life becomes uncertain, emotions become unreliable. Fear increases, motivation disappears, and doubt grows louder. Habits built through discipline continue carrying you forward, even when your emotions fluctuate. Your routine becomes an anchor during emotional storms. Learning to delay gratification is another powerful expression of discipline. Modern society encourages instant results. Everything is designed to provide immediate satisfaction. Yet the most meaningful accomplishments require patience. Strong relationships require time. Wisdom requires experience. Financial stability requires consistent effort. Inner peace requires daily practice. A smart woman willingly exchanges temporary comfort for lasting fulfillment because she understands that valuable things grow slowly. There will always be distractions competing for your attention. Every day presents opportunities to waste hours on activities that contribute nothing to your future. Discipline is not simply saying yes to productive habits. It is also saying no to unnecessary distractions. Every time you protect your focus, you strengthen your ability to accomplish meaningful goals. Failure should never become an excuse to abandon discipline. Every successful person has experienced setbacks, disappointment, and moments of uncertainty. The difference is not that they avoided failure, but that they continued despite it. A disciplined woman does not define herself by temporary outcomes. She understands that growth often hides inside difficult experiences. The relationship you have with yourself changes through discipline. You stop making empty promises. You become someone whose actions carry weight because you consistently follow through. This reliability extends beyond personal habits. Others begin trusting you because they recognize integrity in your character. Your words become meaningful because they are supported by consistent behavior. Discipline is also an act of self-respect. It demonstrates that your future deserves today's effort. Instead of allowing passing emotions to determine your direction, you choose principles that remain steady regardless of circumstances. You no longer ask whether you feel like doing what is necessary. You simply do it because your vision is stronger than your excuses. As this mindset becomes part of your daily life, something remarkable begins to happen. Challenges lose much of their power to intimidate you because you have trained yourself to act despite discomfort. Confidence grows naturally because it is supported by consistent action rather than empty optimism. Opportunities appear where others only see obstacles because discipline has sharpened your ability to remain focused. Over time, people may admire your success, your calmness, or your resilience, but what they are truly witnessing is the quiet strength of a woman who chose discipline over temporary feelings day after day until excellence became her natural way of living. Many people spend their entire lives chasing something they can never truly possess: the approval of others. They change their appearance to fit expectations, silence their opinions to avoid criticism, and reshape their personalities to gain acceptance. At first, it feels harmless. They believe they are simply being kind or adaptable, but over time, they slowly lose sight of who they really are. A smart woman understands that the moment your happiness depends on someone else's opinion, your freedom quietly disappears. She chooses something far more powerful than external validation. She chooses inner worth. Validation is addictive because it provides immediate emotional rewards. A compliment feels good. Recognition feels satisfying. Praise gives a temporary boost of confidence. There is nothing wrong with appreciating encouragement from others. The danger begins when encouragement becomes a necessity instead of a gift. When your self-esteem depends entirely on applause, silence begins to feel like rejection. Every criticism feels like a personal attack. Every disagreement shakes your confidence. You become emotionally dependent on people who may not even understand your true value. A smart woman recognizes that people see the world through the lens of their own experiences. Some will admire your ambition, while others may feel threatened by it. Some will appreciate your kindness, while others may mistake it for weakness. Some will celebrate your growth, while others may criticize the very qualities that make you unique. If you constantly adjust yourself to satisfy every opinion, you will spend your life becoming a stranger to yourself. The strongest confidence is built privately. It is developed in moments when nobody is watching. It grows every time you keep a promise to yourself, every time you choose integrity over convenience, and every time you remain faithful to your values despite outside pressure. Confidence built on character cannot be taken away by criticism because it was never created by compliments. Many people confuse popularity with worth. They believe being liked by everyone is evidence of success. Yet history repeatedly shows that people who create meaningful change are rarely accepted by everyone. Every person who stands firmly for truth, discipline, and purpose eventually encounters resistance. A smart woman accepts this reality. She understands that being respected is far more valuable than being universally liked. Seeking constant approval often leads people to hide their authentic selves. They avoid expressing honest thoughts because they fear rejection. They remain in unhealthy relationships because they fear loneliness. They accept disrespect because they fear disappointing others. Slowly, they begin living according to expectations instead of convictions. The cost of this habit is enormous because every compromise weakens self-respect. Self-worth begins with self-awareness. Before seeking acceptance from the world, a wise woman first asks herself important questions. What principles guide my life? What kind of person do I want to become? Which values will I refuse to sacrifice, regardless of pressure? These questions create an inner foundation that remains stable even when circumstances change. Imagine a tree deeply rooted in the earth. Strong winds may bend its branches, heavy rain may shake its leaves, and storms may challenge its strength, but its roots keep it standing. Inner worth functions the same way. External opinions may come and go, but a woman who knows her values remains grounded. She listens without becoming controlled. She learns without becoming insecure. She grows without abandoning herself. Comparison is one of the greatest enemies of inner worth. Modern life constantly encourages people to measure themselves against carefully selected moments from other people's lives. Success, beauty, wealth, relationships, achievements. Everything becomes a competition. Yet comparison ignores one important truth. Every person is walking a different path. A smart woman measures herself against the person she was yesterday, not against someone else's journey. The need for validation also creates unnecessary anxiety. Every decision becomes influenced by questions like, what will people think, or will they approve? Instead of asking whether something aligns with her purpose, she begins asking whether it will earn admiration. This shift quietly transfers authority over her life from her own conscience to the opinions of strangers. Freedom begins the moment you understand that not everyone needs to understand you. Some people will misunderstand your silence. Others will question your ambition. Some may even criticize your boundaries because they benefited when you had none. Their reactions are reflections of their own perspectives, not measurements of your value. A smart woman stops explaining herself to people who have already decided not to understand. This does not mean ignoring wise advice or constructive criticism. Humility remains essential for growth. The difference lies in discernment. Constructive feedback helps you improve. Constant validation makes you dependent. Wisdom allows you to learn from others without surrendering your identity. You can remain teachable while staying true to your principles. Inner worth is strengthened through private victories. Every difficult choice made with integrity becomes evidence that you can trust yourself. Every healthy boundary reinforces your self-respect. Every act of discipline reminds you that your value comes from your character rather than public recognition. These quiet moments shape a confidence that no applause can create and no criticism can destroy. Many women underestimate the power of solitude. They fear being alone because society often equates loneliness with failure. Yet solitude offers something that constant social approval never can. It creates space to hear your own thoughts. It allows you to reconnect with your values. It teaches you to enjoy your own company without needing constant reassurance. A woman who is comfortable alone becomes far less vulnerable to manipulation because she no longer accepts unhealthy relationships simply to avoid isolation. Another important lesson is learning to celebrate yourself without arrogance. Acknowledge your progress. Appreciate your resilience. Recognize the courage it took to overcome challenges. You do not need to wait for someone else to notice your growth before it becomes meaningful. Quiet gratitude for your own journey builds lasting confidence. There will always be seasons when your efforts go unnoticed. Your kindness may not be appreciated. Your sacrifices may remain invisible. Your hard work may receive little recognition. During these moments, many people become discouraged because they expected immediate validation. A smart woman continues anyway. She understands that doing what is right is valuable even when nobody applauds. Purpose always outlasts popularity. Popularity changes with trends, opinions, and circumstances. Purpose remains steady because it is rooted in something deeper than public perception. When your life is guided by purpose, praise becomes pleasant but unnecessary. Criticism becomes informative rather than destructive. Your emotional balance no longer rises and falls with every opinion you encounter. As inner worth grows, your relationships begin to change. You stop seeking people who constantly reassure you because you have already developed confidence within yourself. Instead, you value relationships built on honesty, mutual respect, and shared growth. You become less interested in impressing others and more committed to becoming someone worthy of genuine respect. Your presence becomes calmer because you are no longer performing for approval. You speak with greater authenticity because your words are no longer shaped by fear. Decisions become clearer because they are guided by conviction instead of applause. Over time, people may wonder why criticism rarely disturbs your peace or why praise never changes your character. The answer is simple. Your worth is no longer determined by the changing opinions of the world, but by the unshakable foundation you have built within yourself. Growth is one of the quietest forms of power. It does not happen overnight, nor does it announce itself with loud celebrations. Like a seed beneath the soil, true growth begins where no one can see it. It develops through patience, discipline, self-reflection, and countless small decisions made consistently over time. A smart woman understands that the greatest investment she will ever make is not in possessions, popularity, or appearances. It is in becoming a wiser, stronger, and more capable version of herself. Many people become trapped in comparison because they spend more time observing other people's lives than improving their own. They measure their success against someone else's achievements, their beauty against someone else's appearance, their relationships against someone else's highlights. Yet comparison is built upon incomplete information. You see another person's victories, but you rarely witness their struggles, sacrifices, disappointments, or fears. Judging your entire journey against someone else's visible moments creates unnecessary suffering. A smart woman recognizes that every individual walks a different path. Some bloom early, while others develop slowly. Some experience success in youth, while others discover their greatest purpose much later in life. Neither journey is superior. Nature itself teaches this lesson. The tallest tree in the forest did not compete with every flower growing nearby. Each fulfilled its own purpose according to its own season. Likewise, wisdom grows when you stop asking why your journey looks different from someone else's and begin asking how faithfully you are walking your own path. Growth requires humility because it begins by admitting there is always something new to learn. The moment you believe you already know enough, your development quietly stops. A wise woman remains curious regardless of her accomplishments. She reads, observes, listens carefully, and welcomes lessons from both success and failure. She understands that every experience contains wisdom if approached with an open mind. Mistakes become valuable teachers when viewed correctly. Many people fear failure because they believe it defines their worth. As a result, they avoid challenges, remain inside familiar routines, and slowly limit their own potential. A smart woman sees failure differently. She She understands that every mistake reveals something that success often hides. It exposes weaknesses, uncovers blind spots, and provides opportunities for improvement. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" she asks, "What can this teach me?" That single question transforms disappointment into progress. Continuous growth also demands personal responsibility. It is easy to blame circumstances, difficult people, or bad luck for everything that goes wrong. While